Hello, this is Ashley Danielle from ashleydanielle.com, and I am your psychic intuitive manifestation mentor. One of the questions that I get a lot is very obviously, I've been, doing the work. I've been consciously creating new and better opportunities and experiences for myself. But the things that I desire aren't here yet. Like I'm seeing movement, but I'm still not receiving what it is that I want. It is funny that it oftentimes boils down to a few things, but one of the biggest things is for both men and women. And like, I'm going to say it, and then I want you to hear me out because I think that a lot of people are like, no, that's not true for me. So hear me out. What it comes down to is a feeling of unworthiness, is a feeling of, or a belief that you're not good enough, that you're not smart enough, that you're not, it doesn't, like, good things don't happen to people like you, all of these things, right? And first, I want you to know that it's not your fault. Second, this is true for both men and women. However, most of my clients tend to be women. I'm going to speak to that a little bit more than how it shows up for men, but I will definitely touch on both. So as a society, we are conditioned to believe, another word is brainwashed, to believe that our value comes from, or our inherent value, it comes from the things that we do, how productive we are. So for men, this looks like, are you a provider? The stereotypical gender roles are shifting and changing. And also as a species, like we've been conditioned and brainwashed to believe these things, even if, you're like, well, I don't believe that. It's like, it's in our cells, it's in our DNA. Like it has been so many generations that it's like seeping out of us, whether we want to admit it or not. And because of that, you will repel, you will not fully receive the things that you desire, right? Not at the level that you could be. And so when I say things like you don't feel smart enough, you don't feel good enough, this will come a specific, okay. I want to be careful talking about these things because I know that it can be sensitive, but I'm speaking from the perspective of my lived experience and the lived experiences of my clients and the people that are, that I see online or that are in my world, right? And a way that this shows up for men is if you lose your job or if I laugh because it's not funny, but it's like, oh, the experiences that I've witnessed, or if you're in a job or an income bracket that isn't enough, right? Especially in the economy that we're in now. It's like it's really difficult for one person to maintain a home, maintain living expenses. And then you add on top of that having a family. And it's like a lot of men today can feel inadequate in just existing, right? Like it's difficult. There's going to be a part of you most likely that doesn't feel worthy. For women, in my experience, again, and the experience of the people that I work with, women tend to feel damned if we do, damned if we don't, right? Do you have kids? Do you not have kids, right? Well, I don't have kids, so I'm not worthy. Or I have kids and I'm not able to do it all. Or I work full time and my kids are in daycare. Or I don't work and I feel guilty because I'm not providing financially for the household. Whatever your situation is, it doesn't really matter. You're gonna feel unworthy, right? Because the way that society is set up is not conducive to you feeling good about yourself, whether you're a man or a woman or anything in between, right? Like it's just difficult. Like you have to consciously reprogram your own mind and your own body to be at a place of I deserve good things to happen to me. So something that I have talked about recently with friends is if you've done work around feeling worthy, if you've done work around I get to have happiness and joy, there's like this line that a lot of us feel like we are scared to cross, where it's like, if I see myself as whole and goodness and worthy of being compensated and worthy of abundance, like not just I'm worthy to survive, like I'm worthy to have extra, especially in an economy and in a world where a lot of people don't have enough, right? And so something that that there's the line is around feeling like we don't want to come across as cocky or arrogant, right? And it's like like I was taught, or it was implied that being arrogant and cocky was like the worst thing that you could do. And so why would I want to receive more? I hear like, who do you think you are? You think you're better than everybody else, that you get to have surplus when other people are struggling and don't have enough, specifically like family members or people in your close proximity, right? We're not even necessarily consciously thinking about these thoughts, but subconsciously and in our bodies we are. And so it's really important to do the work to deprogram and decondition and separate yourself from the way that we've been trained, whether parents, schools, whatever, commercials, ads, like anything. And it's not like, oh, I blame my parents because they taught me this. This is how society has been set up to operate. And so it takes slowing down, and it takes looking at your beliefs and why you think things that you do, and do you want to continue believing these things, or do you want to open yourself up to possibility of having more? Because when you have more, you can do more. If somebody that is good, right, and I use that term loosely, if somebody that is good, or somebody that will do good things with their money has more money, that's only going to be good for everybody else. And I firmly believe money doesn't necessarily change you. Money, or having more money, having more wealth, just amplifies who you are. So if you are somebody that sees other people struggling and you're like, well, I don't want to receive more because that's not fair. It's like, yeah, but if you had more, you'd be able to donate, you'd be able to help, you'd be able to inspire other people to see that they can receive in ways that society does not tell us about, right? Like the world operates, and I say the world, like my experience as a, US citizen is that we the way that our society is set up is so that we feel not good enough. We feel not worthy. We feel like we're missing something. We need something. We need somebody to tell us what to do. We need to push and strive and be productive 24/7 and never take a break. And, like you get a week's vacation or two, whatever, right? And it's like all of these things. And then we're bombarded with ads, like there's something wrong with you. These new shoes will make you feel better. There's something wrong with you. You need to have the newest vehicle. You need to have a bigger house. Society is starting to shift away from that a bit because it's not sustainable in any way. And when I talk about manifesting and I talk about consciously creating to have more, it is not necessarily about so that you can consume more, right? And if that's what you desire, perfect, that's beautiful. And also there are, and a lot of, the people that come to me, the people that watch my videos, you don't necessarily desire to have more to have more. You desire to have more so that you can make a difference in the world. And sometimes making a difference in the world is just, I don't want to feel stressed out and burnt out about money. I want to be able to come home at the end of the day and play with my kids. I want to be able to explore the world. I want to be able to exist without feeling stressed and burnt out, and like I have to just continually strive for more and better. I want to be happy and joyful, and I want to feel peace, and I want to feel like a contribution to society in ways that feel good and true to who I am. It starts with working through why you don't feel worthy. So we know, right? Everybody has this layer of shame and not feeling good enough, just because that's the way that we've been trained to be, so that we can be good little worker bees, right? So like take some of that shame off and realize that it's not something that you're actively choosing. It's something that has been programmed into you, and you get to start to pull yourself away from that and look at it. One good way to know if you don't feel worthy is, do you allow yourself to rest? Do you allow yourself to nourish your body? Do you, and it's like, yeah, of course, I sleep every night. It's like, no. Do you allow yourself, if you're like, I'm tired, I'm gonna rest? Are you doom scrolling on your phone while you're resting? Are you resting, but your mind is thinking about all the things that you should be doing and you're guilting and shaming yourself, right? Like if you can't do these simple things, there is no way that you feel worthy to have the things that you actually desire. So start there, start small. A lot of women I know, it's like, I have to go to the bathroom. No, I'm going to sit through the meeting, or I'm going to, keep working and like finish preparing dinner, like whatever it is, and then use the restroom. It's like, no, your body is signaling that you need something. Take care of it first. You are worthy and deserving to be in a home, your body, that is fueled and taken care of and nourished and well rested. And I know that that's easier said than done. And also these are things to start looking at. And it's like, okay, so what do we do, right? Well, you hire somebody like me to help you, but also things that I suggest is journaling. Journal. If I felt fully worthy, what would that mean about me? If I allowed myself to receive my desire, what do I think that that would make me? It would make me a bad person. It would make me arrogant. It would make me a target, is another one. Journal, right? Like ask yourself these questions and just, do some breathing exercises. And then start writing and set a timer for 5 minutes and just write. Stream of consciousness, just write. Something else you can do is tapping. I don't do this so much anymore. You can YouTube tapping, EFT tapping to help, right? Bring some of the stuff up. There's various ways, like start to pay attention to your thoughts. Start to think about what would it be like if somebody handed me $1 million? How would I feel in my body? How would I feel? Like, would I be like, yeah, right, this is impossible. Okay, so I don't believe that good things can happen to me, right? And start looking at these things so that you can start to shift them. How do you shift them? One way is, okay, I see I have a belief I'm not worthy. I'm going to set a timer on my phone at, top of the hour, every hour. I'm going to look at the mirror and say, I am worthy. I deserve, like even, there's, if you haven't done this work, it sounds ridiculous. And also, it is that simple. It is not easy. It is not easy to look in the mirror and say, I am worthy. I am a good person. I am like this, shifting the things that you negatively believe about yourself and start to see them. Right. And so then if you're further along in the journey and you're like, okay, I've done all these things. And also I still don't feel worthy. I don't feel safe. I don't feel deserving. Like even where I'm at in my journey, I find myself being like, oh, but it can't be that easy. I don't get to just receive this thing or this person. Like it just doesn't get to be that easy. Like I need to sacrifice something, right? Like, ooh, that's a big one, especially if you have religious trauma or if you were just raised in religion. I have to I have to sacrifice something. I have to be the martyr, right? And it's like, oh shit, right? Like I still believe these things. And it's not that we necessarily still believe them. It's when you've held something as a truth for so long, you won't ever forget it, right? And so there's going to be moments where it's like, okay, it's coming back up. Okay, I get to hold myself in this. I get to, pour into myself in ways that aren't self-deprecating or self-defeating or self-abandoning. That's a lot. That's a lot on worthiness. And if you have questions, put them in the comments. I would love to come back and answer them in another video or just in the comments because this is a big one. This is a really big one. And a lot of things tie into this, into the worthiness piece. And so when you start to untangle it, it can feel a bit daunting because it's like, can be almost never ending, but like all of this was given to us on purpose, right? Like it was given to us on purpose. And so you get to be free from these beliefs. You get to, I hear some people like on TikTok and stuff, they're like, I escaped the matrix. And I never really understood it until I started thinking about it in the context of the work that I do, in that we're conditioned to believe certain things, a lot of things, right? That keep us small, that keep us safe and protected, when really it's just feeding into this system of overcompensation, overconsumption, and lining the pockets of a few. And it's like, no, we get to reverse this. We get to live in abundance. And abundance doesn't mean, oh, I have $100 million. Maybe abundance is I have money left over at the end of the paycheck, right? I have money left over. I can take my kids on vacation. My boots ripped. I can, provide new boots for myself. Whereas before, maybe I wouldn't have, and I would have just dealt with it to save money, right? Like all of these different things. It's like you get to live in abundance. You get to have an abundance of love. You get to have an abundance of wealth. You get to. And so start small, and then the impact is like compounded, right? Like each little thing adds up and shifts the trajectory of where you're going and how you get to experience life. Okay. So I hope that you found this helpful and interesting and all of the things. And again, put your comments, questions in the comments below. I would love to hear your takeaways or any questions that you have. Thanks.